Good morning, everybody. James wanted to know how many last minute things I'm doing right now, and the answer is all the things. About half an hour before, like about 9:30, the truck pulled up out the front with the delivery, and so you've caught me trying to get an internet connection, trying to get somewhere to put my laptop, trying to carry in plasterboard and other things. So I'm all tired now. I'm done. Where am I? I acknowledge the traditional owners of this land. I pay my respects to their elders, past and present, and to Aboriginal elders and peoples from other communities who may be taking part in this live stream today. So, this really was a last minute scramble. What you can see right now is I've grabbed my laptop and I'm sitting it on a recycling bin, which is just outside the front door, because I am just through the wall from where the wireless access point is from the factory next door, because I don't actually have internet here yet. And doing it off my phone, I think I would rip through my quota really quickly. So I'm doing this with my laptop, with the built-in camera, with no microphone, no ATEM, no... This is really flying by the seat of my pants. Hopefully it'll all work out okay, but it should mean that I can give you a little bit of a walk around. So let's start with that. I've got to be a little bit careful with where I walk because the Wi-Fi is probably going to work okay out there. Not so much if I go that way because there's more cement in between. Oh, Chip, thanks. So quality is good. Am I wearing pants? I better be because I'm standing in the street. Hang on. Pants check. Yes. Pants check. Okay. Alrighty. I am going to go for a little walk. I'm doing this just picking up my laptop and carrying it. So hopefully I won't make you too seasick. And you're going to be walking backwards. I'm trying not to fall over things. And we'll start with the broad view. And since I have a history of doxing myself, I'm going to do it again. Because this location, unlike working from my house, this is a location where I can actually be kind of public about where I am. So, where are we? All right. So this is Lachlan's factory. You can see, oh look, there's a little silver car. That's my new car. We'll get to that in a second. So that is the entrance to Lachlan's factory. And that entrance right there is where I was just standing, behind that big plant. And then, checking for the party poppers. James, I was not that organised. I've really been struggling to get here at all. That roller door that you see through there, that is the entrance also into my factory area. So by way of context, because it's a Sunday here, this is an industrial area. I'm in Bayswater, Clare Street, Bayswater. And because it's a Sunday, it is deserted. I'm standing right in the middle of the road right now, and I can be reasonably confident that I'm not going to be hit by anything. So there's some interesting stuff around here. Just behind me, that factory right there, that's actually a sawmill. It's not running right now, but there are often big logs and things being dragged in there. Down to the end of the street, that's the far end of Clare Street, that's the south end we're looking at. And one of the interesting things about this, I'm going to see if I can give you a view. If we look down the road right here, hang on, where is my finger in the camera? Just see that white car there, and then just back to the right of that a little bit in that sort of area there. It's probably 400 meters from where I'm standing right now. That is Summit Jiu-Jitsu, which is the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu gym that I was going to up until COVID, and I stopped going because of lockdowns and all of that sort of thing. But one of the really cool things about this location is that it is a 400 meter walk down the street on the same side of the street to my gym, which is awesome. So hopefully soon I'll be able to get back in there and start doing jiu-jitsu training again. All right, so back to here. Back in the front. Let's go for a little walk. I'm going to be beside the laptop, so I can't really actually see what you're seeing right now. Okay, before we go in there, I've just got to do this little thing because this is a new thing for me and I'm so excited about it. I get a buzz every time I press the start button. So this is Bill, which is my new way of getting to work. Instead of walking out the back door, I need to actually get here somehow. So this is a 2009 E82 BMW 135i, which is not exactly stock, but let's not go into that. Okay, back around to here. We'll go back around to where the main entrance is. So getting to the front door is a little bit weird. This is all going to need lots of cleaning up, and what you're going to see is a huge mess basically. So this is the driveway up to the roller door. You can see the big roller door there. There are some old chairs here which were pulled out of the factory area. They've all got to be disassembled and taken off to the tip to get rid of. There's lots of rubbish to get rid of here. And yesterday, I think it was yesterday, I had my son Tom down here and gave him the job of starting to disassemble some of these chairs. So you can see some of these have been pulled apart, and you'll take an angle grinder to them eventually. And yeah, so this is looking in through the big roller door. Lots of rubbish, once again, rubble here. That bin is going to be emptied tomorrow, so that'll all be emptied and we can get rid of some more stuff. Various building supplies. There's Lachlan's forklift down there and some other boxes. What I'm going to do is go in through the proper entrance. So lots of this is going to change. This window should all be blanked off. It will be at some point. And in through the front door area, which also needs cleaning up. And then into the room that is going to become the replacement for the room that I have at home. So what we're looking at here, hang on, I've just got to switch my view so I can see the camera and know what I'm pointing at. So what this room is going to be is the equivalent of my home lab. And this, so there's the inside of that dodgy looking window. And so that will all be blanked off from the inside. Where is it? There. That's going to be blanked off. It'll just be a blank wall. And then there will be the workbench that goes from this corner down to that corner, down to there, along here, and then it will loop back around. So it's going to be sort of a U-shaped workbench that will come out to this area down here somewhere. So that area there will end up being my workspace. And then there is going to be a little stub wall built, continuing this wall from here out a little bit, just to divide the entrance area off from this workspace. And that is a door that goes through to Lachlan's half of the factory. And then these are the sliders. Try not to fall over anything here. So these are the sliders. Well, which way do I tilt it? That way. This is very awkward doing this with my laptop. Yeah, those are the sliders that will go through to the clean room. And as you can see on the back of that, it is definitely not a clean room yet. But it will be. It's looking fairly clean and nice in here. This is all going to have carpet tiles or something in here. And so it'll come through the sliding doors. So just here we've got the sliding door units. And the idea is then you'll step through into the clean room, which does not yet exist. Now I've got to come back and give you a bit of a broader perspective. Oh yeah, so what we've just done is walked in. I'm definitely going to make about half of you seasick by the end of this. So we've just walked in through that front door, through that front room, which is going to be the lab area. And then this is the back of the big roller door, which is a truck-sized roller door, very good for convenient access. And then spinning back around this way slowly. Oh, you can see some sheets of plasterboard there leaning up against the wall. That's part of what was just delivered right before the live stream started. So there are 10 sheets of plasterboard there. They are going to, well, most of them are going to be used to stand vertically along that wall where they currently are. You can see that the wall is in really crappy condition. The cement block is all fine, but then it's got old plasterboard, which is really patchy. And there's a tool board down there. That tool board's going to be pulled off. And then the back end of that room is going to be where you can see behind that trolley just there. And then you can see there's, oh, excuse me. I should have brought a drink. There is some white core flute that that is leaning up against some shelving. So the shelving is in Lachlan's half of this factory, and the core flute is basically showing the dividing wall, where the wall is going to be. So there'll be a wall that goes from there straight up and divides it off behind, well, on this side of that shelving. So back to the plasterboard. The point of the plasterboard is these are 2.7 metre lengths, and what I'm going to do is stand them vertically and just glue them on over the top of all of the existing crappy plasterboard. And the thing is that if I try to get this off, it's glued to the it's glued to all the cement blocks, and it's just going to be a total pain. Really, really hard to get it off in a reasonably clean way, and there's not really much point. So the simplest thing to do is get some offcuts of old plasterboard and stick it into places like this, just as packing, and like up there, and then get these sheets standing vertically and just glue them straight over the top. So that will end up with a nice smooth plasterboard wall all the way down to that corner, and then the wall that goes across the back there will be the cool room panels. And then up on top here, the ceiling will be cool room panels as well. And at the moment you can see there is a whole lot of junk sitting around in this room, and also, as usual, and made worse by the way I'm trying to hold this laptop, I am not seeing the chat at all. I've got not the faintest idea what any of you are talking about, but I'll get back to that in a bit, hopefully. Yeah, we've got some just random hand tools and different things. Tripod, because I did a time lapse of painting the floor, and some big boxes. So these boxes are full of Z-Wave power boards and power sockets, like one way. I don't know what you call them. Things like the Sonoff S26. It's like a thing that goes into a PowerPoint and then you can control it. And so there are 400 of the power boards and 600 of those power sockets in there. You can also see a big stack of carpet tiles, more carpet tiles. This is for the front room. And more general rubbish. So once this is divided off, hang on, where is the camera looking? Okay, there. So once this is divided off, there is going to be a wall joining in. So you see the little stub wall just there? That wall is going to continue all the way along to that dividing wall at the back of part of the factory. And that will be the division between the clean room, which is where I'm standing right now, and the other side of it, which is going to be the mechanical area towards the front. So CNC machine, laser cutter, drill press, all of those sorts of things. And towards the back will be shelves for storage, like stock storage, packing area, all of that general sort of stuff. So I'm going to, where am I going to go? Okay, let's go for a walk in here and chuck the, there we go. I was holding it at a very awkward angle. Chuck the laptop up on the pile of carpet tiles and say hello to everybody. The glass is in, yes, but it doesn't have the, yeah, actually you can see it behind me. So the glass is in. This is aluminium frame. These are aluminium framed slider assemblies, and there is a gap between there and there. That red thing that you can see there, just that is above the line of the plasterboard, that is a big steel beam that runs all the way across, like the width of that part of the factory. So what we're going to do is build like a header wall that bolts into that steel beam and fills that gap between the top of the sliders and the beam. And then on the other side of that, from inside the front room, there will be monitors mounted along that wall. Cable Tie says, smells like Bayswater. Yes, it is Bayswater. Since I have been doxing myself, it's Clare Street, Bayswater. Yeah, the address is going to end up being pretty public. And if you've been paying attention on the live streams, you would, yes, you would already have the address. That Bayswater stench. You know how industrial areas typically they can have very distinctive smells, and often not good, depending on where it is and what sort of stuff is being done there. The interesting thing about this location is that the smells are almost exclusively really, really good. And so it's mostly a combination of three things. Directly over the road there, where that car just went past, that's the sawmill that I was telling you about. So we get like the smell of freshly cut timber is one smell that comes through. Then directly in Cable Tie, oops, yeah, that's all right. I know you didn't mean it in a bad way. It's just like it has the vibe of Bayswater. Okay. Let's go for a little walk and I will show you more of why this location generally smells quite good. If I come out here, oh, and also the guy, so Stuart is the guy who owns the sawmill over the road. He leaves big containers out the front with offcuts, and you can see there's a guy there right now loading his car because yeah, he just leaves lots and lots of offcuts of timber freshly cut in a couple of big dump bins, and people are constantly driving by and loading up their cars, taking it home to put it in their fireplaces and things. Okay, so right now I'm standing right outside, and if I turn this way, look what's behind me. Romeo Coffee Roasters. This is the factory right next door. I don't know how far I can go before I'm really going to be screwing up the the Wi-Fi, but just around there. So you can see there, that's my roller door. Right next door, right there, that is a coffee roasting factory. And you can't quite see it from this angle, but just down the end of the street. So see where it says where is it there? There's the thing that says neon. The factory just to the left of that, that is an industrial bakery. So the result is that around this area, the predominant smells are freshly cut timber, roasting coffee, and a bakery. So it is not what you would expect from a typical industrial area. Oh, and the other thing is that often on a Sunday, there is a band that practices in a factory 2 factories away. So often there's, yeah, they're not there today. Normally on a Sunday they would be there and we'd hear them, you know, belting out some live music. Yes. Oh, Wi-Fi took a coffee break. Okay. Okay, I must have dropped out. Sorry about that. I didn't notice. Yes. What are we doing? 10:20. I feel like I've been streaming for 2 hours and it's been 20 minutes. I don't know, is that good or bad? Yeah, I know. I need to... So I don't know what it was that you missed when I was out of... Yes. You get a lot of that too. All around here are performance car places. Yeah, so you get that a lot as well. And you might have noticed when I was out walking around on the road, there's more than a little bit of rubber on the street. So Doshi says, I have coffee flavoured wood I could eat. Yes. Mad Techie, hopefully not too much flux. Usman, no, I'm not in crypto. That's, if you ask that question, you might end up getting you banned. But anyway, I used to work next to a Cinnabon. Oh, yeah, that'd be tough, Richard. Okay, so normally I am, what am I trying to say? More than ever, I have not the faintest idea what to do for this live stream. So, yes. What are we going to talk about today? Is that a winch control behind you? Oh, no, it's not. Mr. Fixit asked. So there are a couple of things. There is that. That is just a power cable that is hanging from the ceiling for plugging in whatever. And there is another one. So just there. That box is hanging on a cable, goes up. You can see there's a bunch of cable up there. That is a 3-phase outlet, which is on a traveling, whoops, which way? That way. That wire that you can just barely see there, it's like a carriage with a concertina cable on it. So what you can do is grab that box and drag it down the factory, and then you've got 3-phase wherever you want it for plugging in big welders or whatever. Yeah, this one just here is single phase. That's just a regular, I think it's a 15 amp outlet. Let's see. Yeah, normally you can tell by the size of the earth pin. No, that looks like a 10 amp outlet. It's just a 10 amp outlet on a chain. But that one there is a 3-phase outlet. Right, and there's actually a 3-phase outlet. In fact, if I move, you can almost see it. That grey box right there on the wall, which is in the front office area, that's another 3-phase outlet. I won't have any use for 3-phase inside the front factory, the front thing. Oh, Scott said, is Steve there with you? Yes, let's go say hi to Steve. I did actually get Steve. I brought Steve with me today, and my plan was that I was going to put Steve up on a frame somewhere so that he'd be ready for the live stream. Here's Steve. But for now, what we can do is, I'll just walk through the door again. Steve can sit up there where he can watch us. He can watch over us as he disappears off into the distance as I walk away. So Steve is looking over my shoulder. Oops, that shoulder, just as he usually is, but this time he's just a little bit further away. How far? Maybe 5 or 6 meters away from me. He's a bit further back. Frank says 10 amp, yes. That one, I'm pretty sure, is just a regular 10 amp socket. It's just there for convenience. Yeah, then there are other sockets on the wall around the place. I'm going to need the services of an electrician to put in a few more. All right. Mr. Fixit says, I see all of the I-beams and have visions of winch carts. Yeah, we could attach things up there. Yes, the overseer Steve. I am umming and ahhing a lot today. It's amazing how discombobulated I am by having been rushing to get all this sorted and get all this stuff carried in right before the stream was due to start. You're right, Scott. Squirrel doing squirrel things up a tree. It's appropriate that he's up high. Now, earlier someone said build something. Aaron says, congrats, by the way. Let's maybe talk about your immediate priorities for the next 4 weeks with regards to fit out. She said, Erica said you do it every week. Yeah, that's true. It is kind of my thing. Oh, and by the way, hi, Erica. So, priorities for the next 4 weeks. Okay, this is going to be multiple stages, and this has become a little bit clearer over the last few days, I think, as I've been looking at all of the things that need to be done. I have a big checklist. Early in this process, I sat down, things started getting a bit out of control, and so I decided to make a list. And so I've got a list of things I need to buy, a list of things I need to do, the sequencing. Dodgy, you're in trouble. What have you done just for mentioning her? So I'm going to tackle this in several major stages, and then each of those stages has a series of tasks within it. And early on, my concept was that what I would begin with was cleaning up this clean room area, and that would be one of the first things to do. But in fact, I've changed my plans for the whole sequence, and it's going to become one of the later things to do. And the problem is I'm in this sort of conundrum. I'm in a transition time where I have already started bringing things here. At the moment, so far, it's all power tools and hand tools and those sorts of things. It's not really electronic stuff. So like I don't have a soldering iron here or anything like that. But I'm going to be in this difficult period where I need to, so all through this process, I need to keep being productive with the smallest possible window of transition from working at home to working here. And I realized that that does not depend on the clean room. What it depends on is that front room. So that really has to be the priority. If I can get that front room fitted out and get benches in and make it usable, and the other thing is that it can be reasonably enclosed. What is that? It's an aircraft. A very, very low aircraft. Just went right over my head. So if I can get that room enclosed, and this is this is really partly why I'm also focusing on getting these sliding doors in place. I was thinking of getting the sliding doors in place because that's a way of enclosing the clean room, but it is also conversely a way of enclosing that front room. So what I want to do is get that front room sorted as quickly as possible, and right now I am totally ignoring the clean room. I'm just using this area as staging space. It's somewhere to be able to put things down and have tools and arrange stuff while working on the front room. So I've got to get the front room sorted, and then I can yeah. Oh, and Austin just says, do be careful. It's easy to get complacent with a build when you're using it and trying to build at the same time. Yeah, that's why I want to focus on just getting that room done and getting it done properly. James said, I'm really listening for the sound of rotary engines. Yeah, I saw a, they're so rare these days. I saw what was it? I think it was I saw an RX-3 maybe a couple of months ago driving down here. But yeah, that's about the only thing. Oh, I did see an RX-7 SP, which fairly recently. Those things are very nice. Anyway, let's not chase that squirrel. The point is, what I want to do is by focusing on that front room, I can do that properly and get it to the point where it is all mechanically complete and walls and everything painted, everything sealed up, electrical done, carpet tiles in place. So that can be a really, really nice room that is entirely complete before any of the rest of it is done. And because it'll be sealed off with those big glass doors there, the wall there will be sealed in, there'll be it'll be properly doored and sealed. It means that I can then do basically a forklift transfer of all of the stuff from home to here. Mr. Fixit just says, are you going to maintain a lab at the house as well? No. The reason I hesitated over that is that I'm still going to want to do some things, but I am not going, the room that I'm currently using as the lab at home is not going to be a lab anymore. That's going to be repurposed for use by the family. So we're going to gain floor space in the house, which will be really, really helpful. And so what I can do is, by taking my current workspace and transplanting it into that front room, which I know any time estimate that I give is going to be over-optimistic, but in theory, particularly if maybe I had a couple of people helping me, I've had plenty of people volunteer, which is fantastic, and I really appreciate that. So if I had me plus a couple of people and a couple of cars and a trailer, for example, with a few trips, we could transplant my entire lab from home to here, probably over a weekend, is my guess. And, Mad Techie said, is there any reason you can't continue to work from home until the SuperLab is completely done? I could, but then I would not be getting the benefit of using this new space, and we wouldn't be getting the benefit of the extra room at home. Yeah, and as Austin said, because I'm the one doing the building, can't be in two places at once. Although I am using contractors to do certain things that require their expertise. So I can't do either physically or in terms of competence or legality. I can't do everything. So there are some things I have to bring people in for. So what that will mean, and also this comes down to Mad Techie's question, what this will also mean is that if I'm working from here, it means that it is much easier to continue making progress on the back part of it while also doing commercial work and continuing to make money. Mr. Fixit asked, how far time-wise are you from the new digs? Well, my goal was to do the move next weekend, but it's not going to happen. If everything fell into place and I went totally crazy and worked 24 hours a day on it, maybe that could be achieved. But the other thing is that there's a whole bunch of other stuff happening next weekend, which means that the weekend is largely taken up by other things. So we're going to go into the city and see Hamilton, the musical, and there are other events on as well. So next weekend is not a good weekend for doing the move, and I'm not going to be done in time. Now, there is one big unknown in terms of the delays here. Most of this I can control. There is one thing that I can't, which is the ceiling. And I'm going backwards and forwards on this, and I can't decide. So what I am going to do, well, Mr. Fixit asked travel time. Not long. It is, by road, it is 6 kilometres from my house to here, and it is an easy 6 kilometres. It's down a couple of main roads and a side street, basically. It's like, there are only like 3 turns in the entire route, or 4 turns in the entire route between my house and here. So it very much depends. On a day like today, like on a Sunday when there's no traffic around, it is really, really quick. Oh, someone's messaging me. What's going on? That was a message telling me that my delivery had arrived. The Bunnings delivery that I unloaded before the live stream. Yeah, so 6Ks is enough for a push bike ride. And there is actually a bike track that goes from almost the back of my house, like maybe 300-400 meters from my house, to a major part of the trip can be done on a bike track. And I definitely intend to ride whenever I can. But oh yeah, Mr. Fix-It says time for an e-bike. Yeah. Yes, I am getting old and out of shape, so an e-bike would help. My dad has an e-bike. So my dad is, I think he's 84. I think he's about 84. And he's on his bike all the time. He's going off this, in the next day or two, he's going off to do a 50-kilometre bike ride on his bike, which is, it is an e-bike, but still, 50 Ks on doing a bike ride when you're 84, it's pretty good going. And so the two factors are carrying stuff, which could be solved with a cargo bike, or yeah, dodgy, that might help with my fitness, or if the weather is bad. So we're just sort of heading into that time when we're going to have plenty of wet days. Oh, Cable Tie said, okay, yes, I promise that I will let you help. Thank you. That is very generous. I've had several people offer to help when it comes time to move. Yeah, so it's also, there is a big difference. If, for example, I need to get here to do something and get back home again, or go home during the day and come back again, there is a big difference between 10 minutes in the car each way versus how long would it take on a bike? I don't know, 25 minutes to something like that. So it's like a total of 20-minute round trip versus close to an hour of round trip. And yeah. So having the car is important for many reasons. Aaron says, pending project, superbike. Yeah, so my friend Sam has an electric cargo bike that he has done lots and lots of work on. That's a whole other thing. There are too many projects. What is that? Error. Too many projects. Yeah. Yes, as Sion says, plus the cool down from being knackered by the ride time. And also, I have a bit of a mental problem with bike riding, which is that I can't take it easy. I can't help myself. I get on a bike and I will just about give myself a heart attack because I have to go as hard as I can go and I just can't not do it. I can start off on the trip and say, oh yeah, it's 6 kilometers from here to the factory. I'm just going to take it easy. And by the time I get here, I'd be just about dead. I don't know why. I just can't take it easy on a bike. Well, with anything like that sort of thing, really. I have to push myself. People tell me it's a problem. Yeah. I really freaked out. My son, when was it? Sometime last year, we went for a bike ride because my son is into mountain biking. And we went for a ride out near Lilydale Lake. There's a circuit there. And there's a little bit of a hill with a bit of a lookout on it. For those of you who know Lilydale Lake, there's quite a cool little mountain bike circuit that does a loop around, including going up over the hill. And we were doing laps of that, and after I think it was on my second lap, I got to the top of the hill, and I could barely breathe. Like I had tunnel vision. I actually just got off my bike and lay down on the ground, and my vision started going dark because it was right on that oxygen deprivation sort of point. And my son got really, really worried. He thought I was going to die, which I could have, I suppose. It's one of those things. It's the isn't it the Shane Warne thing where you get to this age and you think that you can still do the same things you could do 20 years ago, and it doesn't really work. Your body doesn't want to do it. Yeah. Mr. Fixit says e-bikes are a different ride, more relaxing. That is definitely true. Yeah. E-bikes they're one of those weird things. I was trying to explain this to someone the other day, and I was explaining it like, when you go to the airport and they have those slide walks that like the travelators or whatever they call them, and some people will get on the slide walk and just stand there, and some people will get on it and walk, and some people will just like walk down the side. And when you're on it and you walk and you're walking at normal speed, but you're actually going 3 times as fast as everybody else, it feels like you're Superman or something. That's what it's like on an e-bike. It's like that feeling that you're walking normally, but somehow you're rocketing along. It's it gives you this feeling that you're you're really, really fast. Yes, e-bikes are cool. I'd love to have an e-bike. I just don't yet. One day I will. Having seen what it's done for my dad, and so he was away in Canberra. He just got back a few days ago, and he took a folding bike with him, because he's really into he's really into cycling. And so he took a folding bike with him, and it's been probably a year or two since he's ridden a non-e-bike, like just a regular bike. And he got it out up there and took it for a bit of a brief ride, and it was hard work, and decided that he folded it up and packed it away back in the car, and decided that he'd stick to the e-bike from now on. Outside the box, we were born one day apart. Yes, that's right. I'm not going to dox you by saying when my birthday is, because I don't know if you want to share that. We share many passions, yes we do. And what? I didn't know about this. Chip, I hope you're okay. And I don't know how much of that you want to share in like a public chat. But yeah, I'm really sorry to hear that you've already had a heart attack. That's really scary. I hope you're nearly 5 years ago. Okay. Well, I'm glad you're all good now. Oh, Dodgy says my brother had a heart attack the other week. Oh no. I hope he's okay too. Stressful. Yeah. Outside the box, stress related. Yeah. This is the one of the effects that I've seen. I'm going to go sort of general from this now. Doing this that radial plane is going back in. Doing this live stream for a couple of years now, it's funny how, well, not funny, you know what I mean. I mentioned some topic, something that's happened to me recently or that I've become aware of, and so many people in the chat say, oh, that happened to me, or people that I've had no idea that it's affected them. Like when I was diagnosed with Crohn's, whenever it was, a little while ago now, and I talked about that on the live stream, and a whole bunch of people said, oh, I have Crohn's as well, or I have IBS, or one of those related things. So many people are... Aaron, thank you. So many people have things going on in their lives that are not generally discussed publicly, or go through situations that aren't discussed publicly. So when one person says, hey, this happened to me, or I know someone who had a heart attack or whatever, and you hear about all of the other people that have had similar experiences, and and that you haven't been aware of. Yeah. That's all right, Aaron, I know. I had totally forgotten that I was talking about the ceiling. Yeah. Oh, Dodgy, yes. So I think you mentioned that one before. Yeah, so you had a heart attack some time ago. Or you may have had a mild one. Yeah, only in your 40s. It can happen really young, definitely. So, so the ceiling thing. All right, jumping to the end and then working backwards. Question is, do I put a suspended ceiling in there or not? I really want to. It's not something that I considered until like early this week. And I started thinking about how beneficial it would be. It wasn't something that I had even considered, and I realized that it would solve quite a few problems. But it is expense, could end up being a few $1,000s, and it could delay things as well. Cable tie says for the clean zone only. No, it's not actually going to be required in the clean zone, like in the clean room, because the clean room is going to be a totally enclosed box. You might have noticed these lights turning on and off. It's because there are big lights here in the factory. They've all got motion detectors in them. It's kind of weird. So you see these lighting battens up here, these are smart lighting battens. They're way up. They're like, how high is that ceiling? I can't remember. 4.2 meters or something, 4.4 meters. So they're a fair way over my head. And they're all remote controllable. They've all got motion detectors in them. And they can do things like when they stop detecting motion, they drop down to a lower light level and just provide like safety lighting. And then if there's no motion for a long period of time, they can turn off entirely, and it's all configurable. But the result is that because I'm just standing here and most of the time I'm being fairly still, eventually they turn off and then I move and they turn back on again. So, where was I with that? That's right. So, ceiling. I'm going to take you for a little walk and I'm going to... Oh, that's right. So, the clean room does not require it because there will be cool room panels making the wall down this side, following on from that wall there, just continuing on. And above my head here, like joining in along that wall, the perspective is all screwed up. Joining in along there and continuing over my head will also be cool room panels. So cool room, and it's going to be a fully sealed box. But so Mr. Fix-It, how about a suspended ceiling grid? That's exactly what I'm talking about. I'm going to take you for a little walk and try not to make you seasick and explain my reasoning and the benefits that would come from this. So if we come through here into what will be the front lab office area reception sort of thing again, and you can see that the walls are in pretty bad shape. They've been knocked around, and it's 40 plus years since these walls have all been really exposed like this, and there's some old water damage from a leak that has since been fixed. You can see just over here up in the corner there is some water damage up there that will need to be fixed. I've got to cut out a piece of that plasterboard and patch that, put some in there. But this is where, coming around this way, you can see up there, there is a place where I've already started doing a patch. There was a vent there. So what we did was pull the vent off and push the ducting back inside, seal off. There's a bat inside there, and I've just glued a piece of off-cut plasterboard there, so that can all be filled and sanded over. So I was doing that before the idea of doing a suspended ceiling. And now, the reason for it, several reasons. One is if I use some kind of seal, you know those really porous ceiling tiles, they're almost like cork. They have much better acoustic properties than hard plasterboard on the ceiling. So it would reduce the echoes in here quite a lot. Now, the other thing is, if you look up here, you can see just, where is it? There. See that little ridge? There. There is a ridge below the cornice. That ridge is at approximately 2.7 meters from the floor. So that would be at the like at a normal high ceiling height in a house. A low ceiling would be like 2.4 meters. A decent ceiling height would be about 2.7 meters. But you can also see, particularly if you look at it here, see that it's a triangular shape? That's because this whole ceiling slopes. And that 2.7 meters at the front part is just below the cornice. It's about 40 millimeters below the cornice. Now, if we come back over here, you can see I've drawn some pencil marks on the wall. Actually, it might be very hard for you to make them out on camera. I'll see if I can point to them. There is one about there somewhere. There's another pencil mark about there somewhere. That pencil mark is at 2.7 meters. So there is a bigger gap between the 2.7 and the ceiling at this side because the ceiling is not horizontal. Now, that's not a problem. Like having a ceiling not horizontal is not a problem at all. But it does give some advantages if we've got some space up there. For example, if I look back over this side, if there was a suspended ceiling that at this point started just about there, and then by the time it gets across to this side, it'll be down about here. That leaves a cavity above it. And what I could then do is run things like ducting through it. So what I could do is bring a big fume extraction system in above the ceiling tiles and then bring it down the wall. Or I could take it through that wall potentially, but that's a big job. And bring that through under the benches and running it around here. It would also mean that I could put lighting in the suspended ceiling instead of using these sorts of lights, and it might improve the thermal properties a bit. So not hugely compelling reasons. They're not reasons that make you go, oh yeah, you absolutely have to do it. But there are enough advantages to it that that it's making me think, yeah, maybe it is worth the several $1,000s that it would probably be to put a suspended ceiling, like ceiling tiles, in that area. And if I'm going to do it, it really should be done now, before there's bench work in there and all of the other stuff. So with that room perfectly clear, the sequence would be finish building that wall across the vertical header wall there. Vertical, of course all walls are vertical. So finish building the header wall that goes across there, and then get a contractor in to put in like a ceiling grid suspended tile system, and get that done while the room is totally empty, because then they can put ladders wherever they want. It just makes it so much easier. Trying to work around things when you're putting things up on the ceiling is just a pain. Dodgy says a sloping room is better for acoustics than a flat roof. That is true, because you don't get standing wave echoes, reflecting, and that sort of thing. But a sloping hard surface is probably still not as good as a horizontal sound, like semi-sound absorbing surface. Dodgy said, I've been told to apologise for repeating Erica's flippant comment she made while half listening to the live stream. I don't care about that comment. There's no need to apologise. That is silly. Yeah. Suspended ceiling is much cheaper than a solid ceiling. Yeah. And ceiling work in an occupied space sucks bad. Yeah. So this is the thing. If I'm going to do this and get a contractor in to put a suspended ceiling in there, the ideal time would probably be late this week. But two things: money, lead time. It would be, yeah, I'd need several $1,000s for it, which I kind of have. I could, but I also just bought a car, which cost a lot. So, yeah, and also lead time. So if I find a contractor who can do it, they're not necessarily going to be able to say, I'll turn up on Thursday and have it done for you. Yes. Oh, and as Gerald42 said, a good place to run cables too. Yeah. I much prefer... The thing is, this is a commercial space. It's not a house. And being able to just get up on a ladder, lift a ceiling tile, throw cables through, put wireless access points up there, run cables for speakers, all of that sort of thing. It is so convenient compared to a domestic installation where you've got to, where you've got a normal solid plasterboard thing. Mr. Fixit says the metal grid is hung by wires. Yes, so it would be attached to the existing ceiling in some way. So there are rails that go around the wall, like L channels, and then the ceiling tiles sit on the edge of the L, and they get bolted into the wall, and then the rest of the grid sort of snaps into that and has periodic wires that go up to suspend it. Yeah. So putting one in that room, it wouldn't really be a big deal for a contractor that does it all the time. It's like a 30-ish square meters of floor space, I think. Yeah, and it's one of those jobs, well, Scott says suspended ceilings are actually pretty easy to install. It's one of those jobs where I'm just going to make up numbers here because I don't know if these are valid. I could probably spend, say, $1,500 to $2,000 buying all the grid system and the tiles, and then spend days putting it up there and maybe not get it perfect because I haven't done it before, versus spending like $3,000 and be doing other things while a contractor comes in and does the whole thing in the space of a few hours and it's perfect. So, yeah. Oh, Groove Train. This is an interesting suggestion. Groove Train said, just put sound absorption foam on the sloping ceiling. That was actually what I thought of before the sloping ceiling. That was my first thing. Was I thought, just get some of that acoustic foam and stick it all over the ceiling, because you can even like conceal cables and things behind it if you have to. You know how expensive acoustic foam is? It's ridiculous. It would cost thousands of dollars for the acoustic foam to stick on that ceiling. Like, it would cost more than having a suspended ceiling installed. I started looking up the prices of things like, the black foam that's got the egg cup shape sort of finish on it, and the prices that are typically quoted are for like 100 by 100 millimeter squares. It's ridiculous. So like, I was looking at prices and I thought, that price for like a square meter, that's okay. And then I realized, hang on, no, that tile is not a square meter. It's 10 centimeters by 10 centimeters. And you need 100 of them to make a square meter. So the price was actually 100 times as much as at my first glance I thought it was. Yeah. Sausage says, cabling should not be sitting on top of suspended ceilings, but should be hung off catenary. This is a word I can never pronounce. Catenary wire. But then who listens to regulations? Yes. So there shouldn't actually be weight on top of the tiles. They're not really structural. Gavin says, wall acoustic panels. Look up Louis Rosman's new office rebuild. Oh, check that out. I haven't seen... the most recent videos of his that I've seen have been about the right to repair stuff. And that is one of the differences between being in a commercial space and being at home. The sound problems that I have at home are neighbours with chainsaws and lawnmowers. The sound problems here are, that. Much cheaper at scale. Groove Train says, no, you haven't researched the supply of acoustic panels properly yet. Yeah, that's quite likely. All I did was sit there and Google for a while and look at suppliers. I found a few suppliers in Melbourne. The only places that actually listed prices were crazy expensive, and the ones that didn't were all like, fill in this form outlining your requirements and we will arrange an audio consultant to discuss them and create a plan for your recording studio environment, and then we'll give you a quote. And it's like, no, just tell me a price per square meter for the tiles, please. But no, I couldn't find anything like that. Yeah. So I've gone off on this thing about acoustic tiles. Acoustic tile stuck to the ceiling would be a solution, but I think there are other advantages to doing a suspended ceiling that Mad Techie says, everybody send their egg cartons to John. Yeah, that egg cartons and some black spray paint. Call mattress manufacturer companies. Yeah. Oh, I actually did find places that supply for mattress manufacturers, and their prices were still ridiculous. It's the sort of thing where if you are doing a small area, like say you wanted 2 square meters of the stuff because you're putting it in a wall, against a wall where you've got a microphone and things and you just want to reduce reflections, then the prices are okay. But when you're talking about 30 square meters of it, then it just becomes totally unworkable. Yeah. Anyway, the audio benefits of it they are real, but it is also kind of secondary. That's one of the benefits of putting acoustic tiles on the ceiling. Or a suspended ceiling. So if I go for a suspended ceiling, Rattle Pack Black, then I get the other benefits that I can put the lighting in it, and so I can just use, what are they called? It's like the word is on the troffer. That's it. It was like on the edge of my brain. A troffer lighting panel, which is a lighting panel which is the same dimensions as a ceiling tile. So basically you just leave out a ceiling tile and you drop a lighting panel into it. And that is what I have in my lab at home. I've got half-width troffer panels from Osram. They're Osram LED panels, and they're intended to go into a suspended ceiling system, but I bought them and I just attached them to my ceiling in the lab at home. So I 3D printed some mounting brackets, and instead of sitting inside the suspended ceiling grid system, they are like face mounted under the plasterboard. And as Scott says, number one benefit is the utility space above. Yeah, so lighting fitted into it. So those are really the benefits. Well, one benefit is, 4 benefits. Let me get this straight. 1, improved acoustics. 2, integrated lighting, and it would make the space like visually much neater. 3, the space above where other things could go. And 4, it means I don't have to fix the plasterboard that is currently in there. And so this is the thing, there is also a price in not putting in a suspended ceiling, and that is that the existing plasterboard needs repair. So I could spend a day or two up a ladder with patching compound and sanding and painting and all of that sort of thing in order to repair the existing cornice, or I could not have to do that and have a suspended ceiling put in. Frank says troffer. Yes. Right. Now, what else? I don't know. Dodgy says it's a no-brainer. Suspended ceiling is the easy way out. Dodgy, you are right. It is the easy way out, except for those two things: the cost and the delay. Because the thing is that we've got a really weird situation with tradies at the moment, because there are yeah, Matt Tacky says just do it. It sounds like you want to and are trying to justify it. Very astute of you. What I'm wanting to do is lay out the answer that I want, and for all of you to tell me that that's the correct answer, so I then feel justified in doing it. You are spot on. So yeah, I don't know what the lead time is. It could be a situation where I contact, like, they just can't do it for weeks or however long, and that could potentially be a problem because I want to move into that space. This is probably the number one outstanding question right now that I have to resolve. Yeah, and as Dodgy says, it's one of those cases where the price hurts now, but the long-term benefit, yeah. There's that thing about buy once, cry once. Yeah. Yes. Which is an important principle. All right, so now that I've told you the answer that I want to hear, everybody's giving me the answer I want to hear, which is just do it. Mr. Fixit says, just buy the grid channel and worry about the tiles later. That's an interesting idea. Raise the floor. Thanks, Michael. Hey, what I could do, Michael, is if I put the floor on an angle, I can make it match the ceiling, and that would be perfect. So the ceiling would feel level, but all the walls would feel tilted. So I need to tilt the walls as well. I can tilt the walls and the floor to match the ceiling. Definitely. Yeah, and as Stephen says, you won't know the answer to that until you ask them for quotes and timeframes. Tomorrow is a public holiday here in Victoria. I think it is all over Australia. But on Tuesday, I am going to start contacting people that do suspended ceilings and find out what the answer is. Because I really need an answer to those two things. How much is it going to cost? How long is it going to take until they can do it? Yes. Without that information, I am trying to make a decision on insufficient data. Yeah, what is that thing? What is the phrase? Insufficient data for a meaningful answer. Yes, thank you, Deep Thought. What am I doing now? What am I looking at? I rushed out to get here and didn't bring a drink with me. So I'm going to have to just suffer until this is over and I can go home. Yeah. Scott says, imagine having the drop ceiling and a raised floor. No limits for cabling and such. Yeah. Yeah, having a raised floor would be cool as well. But I don't know, raised floors aren't that comfortable. They are really, really practical and useful in places like data centers. But I just don't find them that comfortable to be on for a long period of time. Cable Tie says, John, I'm at Bunnings needing a thing. Not at the moment, thanks. I'm all good. Yeah. Yeah. Gavin says, you really need to enclose the walls as winter will be cold in a big glass walled space. Yep. All right. Mad Techie. Yes, 1 hour of ceiling talk. Stephen W. says, maybe Cable Tie can get me a sausage from Bunnings. A sausage with barbecue sauce, maybe a sprinkle of cheese on it. That'd be great. Right. Okay. What are we doing? I don't know. Oh, g'day.
I was going to come to it, I wasn't sure how...
Oh, how secure it is. Yep.
So,
Hey, I've got a visitor.
there's a security camera going already.
I'm live streaming.
Oh, right.
So we've got.
Where's that hiding?
Oh, the camera is right here.
Oh.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm just giving people a quick tour of the of what I'm doing in the factory. And
So you're getting ready to put that extra wall up now, are you?
yeah, that's right. So we had the Bunnings delivery this morning.
Okay.
Some plaster and some timber.
Yep.
And yeah, we've got a frame up the top there. Yeah, my dad is a retired builder. He came over yesterday and had a look and gave me some suggestions. Yeah. Yes. So, you do performance car mods. We've got a whole bunch of people watching right now, so you can tell them about what you do. So,
work on my own rally cars. I've got a few two or three rally cars.
Yep. So, if you want to talk to someone about building rally cars, you're the guy.
Not really. I've only got enough time for my own. I haven't enough time to do my own stuff, so
Yeah.
don't have time to do other things.
Yeah. Cool. Well, Tradie Trev says he's our first guest. Yep. Yeah.
Better leave you to it then.
Okay. Cool.
Go back to working on the cars.
All right. Fun. Yeah. So, talking about cameras, I have some cameras here which I need to set up. There's a whole. It's a very dusty box of IP cameras that are going to be set up in different places. And I've got to figure out where the camera locations and things are going to be. Yeah. Also, does he install drop ceilings? No, I don't think so. So that was Alan. He had, there are, I think, either 4 or 5. I think there are 4 factories in this group. And he's in a factory at the back and builds performance cars, like builds rally cars. So he does crazy things going sideways on dirt. How's my battery going? So this whole thing, I'm just here with my laptop propped on top of a pile of ceiling tile, standing in the factory on Wi-Fi. This is a very impromptu sort of live stream setup. Seems to be working okay so far. Oh, and the other thing is Wednesday, the NBN is being connected here. So right now, right now I am using Lachlan's Wi-Fi from next door. I've got no internet access here other than using my phone, and I figured that trying to use the phone, I would probably chew through my very small bandwidth quota, and it probably wouldn't work too well. And what am I talking about? I don't know. I had one of those brain fade moments. I do need a drink. Unfortunately, the coffee place next door is not open at the moment. So yeah, they do coffee bean grinding and roasting, and there is a little shop in the front. It's not like a proper cafe because it is actually a factory that grinds stuff, and they just happen to have a tiny little shop in the front that sells coffee, but they're not open. Allsop said, wait, a pile of ceiling tiles. No, floor. Hang on, I'm going to pick this thing up. Sorry, James, there are no party poppers inside this building. So these are floor tiles that I am going to put down in the floor of the front room. So, and of course, I'm going to instantly have people saying, what about ESD safety? So what I'm going to do is have floor tiles in that front area, which is going to be primarily reception and my desk in the corner over there with the computer and like basic sort of lab setup. And so I'll have the same static dissipative surface on the workbench that goes around there. So things that are on the workbench, that'll all be safe from an ESD point of view. And then coming through here, this floor, which will all be this will all be painted white. There's floor inside the clean room, and it will just stay as like painted white concrete. And then at the suggestion, so last live stream when I had guests on, the suggestion from, I think it was Sion who said it, was to fake news, was to put mats on the floor anywhere that you're walking up to a machine. And so what I was thinking of doing was getting like a dissipative mat and running it inside, where is it? This way. On the floor, inside the clean room, just in here. So what happens is that if you come through this door, you walk across the mat. So if you do happen to have charge on you when you come in, then it'll be dissipated as you enter the room. Yeah. Oh, what was this about the fire hose? Oh, plenty of water in the fire hose. Any mule says. Yeah, there would be. I don't know when that was last turned on, probably a very, very long time ago. It was inspected a while ago, I think. There's a label on it that shows an inspection. And I assume that when they do the inspection, they probably drag it out and spray it down the driveway or something. I don't know. Yeah, touch the metal frames as you enter. Yeah, so things like the machines inside the clean room will need to be grounded. And I think inside this room, inside the clean room, it shouldn't really be a problem because there won't be surfaces and things that are going to generate large amounts of static. It's really the inspected. Yeah, it's really the front room where that will be more of an issue. Just because of the ceiling tiles. But it also needs to be a comfortable place to be. And being on a cement floor all day can be really hard on your feet, and it's just not very nice. It also sounds very echoey. And at the moment there are really strong echoes around in this room. And particularly in the front room, it's very echoey at the moment. We really noticed that. Lachlan came in just after I pulled up all of the carpet because there was carpet all the way through there. It was underlay and then carpet over the underlay. So it was quite springy and very sound absorbent. And that room kind of sounded reasonably dead, like from an acoustic point of view. And I pulled all the carpet out and all of a sudden it's like you're standing in an echo chamber. So putting carpet tiles back in there should make a really big difference in terms of taking the edge off all of those echoes and just making it a better place. Yeah. Need to get a loud banana. Yes. What is the sound of a loud banana? All right. What else are we going to talk about today? I don't know if I'm probably not going to live stream from here next live stream. I'll probably be back at home because I won't have been moving in. A large part of the reason that I'm live streaming from here today is that Bunnings gave me a delivery window of 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. So they could have been here any time between 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. So I needed to be ready to receive the delivery. And I just figured that what I would do is set myself up to stream from here, and if the delivery arrived while I was streaming, well, we would just deal with that if it came up. But then the delivery arrived at, what time was it? It arrived at about 9:30, so half an hour before the stream was due to begin. So Lachlan and I quickly got some got the plasterboard sheets off the truck and moved everything off, and just had it ready in time. Now, okay. Subjects, please. All right. Price of... Okay. Lap. I am really losing it today. It's kind of weird being in this situation because I'm in this place and I feel like I should be doing stuff. One thing I can do is I'm just standing here staring at these boxes. I could open one and show you what is inside. I need a knife. All right, let me go for a little walk. Find a knife. This knife has had a little bit of abuse. It's been used for cutting plasterboard over cement. That blade is a mess. Get rid of that blade. Always keep your sharps sharp. Never use a blunt blade. All right. Now, these boxes that Nigel organised for me. Let's get one of these down. Is it upside down? No, not the right way. I actually haven't opened any of these boxes yet. They might be full of bricks. But what should be in these boxes is packs of home power monitoring devices. Well, it's looking hopeful so far. What did I hear then? Just a car turning up. All right, Greenwave. So these boxes, you can see there were 6 of them here in this big box. These things are like home energy monitoring kits. If I flip that open, so what you can see in each one, which way do I go? That way. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 socket power boards. We've got 2 of those. There are these little single plug adapters, and there are 3 of those. That's basically the extent of the useful stuff in the box. The other things that come with it. Where is it? This thing, that is a Z-Wave gateway, but this is no longer supported. I think the current situation is that these Z-Wave gateways, they got nothing to talk to. Like the firmware that's in them will try to communicate with all of these other devices and report it back to a cloud-based service, but I don't think the cloud-based service is even running anymore, so that's no use. And then this is a display. It's the sort of thing that you would stick in your kitchen, stick it on the bench, and it uses the data collected by the gateway from all of these devices to show you the power usage of all the things that are plugged into it. Oh, and they're batteries. Nice. So we've got some AA batteries. And so these things were all destined to be disposed of. And Nigel, I don't know if Nigel's here in the chat. He's often here. I don't remember seeing him pipe up about it. And anyway, the thing is, because of the way Z-Wave works, being such a closed, regulated system, if I'm going to be doing live streams from here in the future, I'm going to close the roller door because that would make a big difference to the noise, I think. Which way? That way. So there are, Z-Wave, because it is all controlled by Silicon Labs, and Silicon Labs are the only people that actually make the chips. So the thing is that every single Z-Wave device ever made has a chip in it made by Silicon Labs. They have 100% control of the ecosystem. It means that everything is compatible. So those power boards and the power sockets work absolutely perfectly well with other Z-Wave gateways, including things like the AOTech Z-Stick, which is a USB stick that you plug in, supported by Home Assistant, and you can then control the power sockets and you can read the power usage on each of the sockets individually. So the thing is that in this kit, even if, which way? That way. Even if the gateway is thrown out and the display is thrown out, the rest of this is actually still extremely useful. So these are, you use them essentially like a Sonoff S26, except that it's Z-Wave instead of Wi-Fi. Plug it into a power point, and then you've got control over it, and you've got power monitoring. So, yeah, anyway, I'm kind of excited about this, because what I'm going to do is, for my own purposes, for my own purposes, what I'm going to do is have an electrician install regular GPOs, like just a reasonable number of regular GPOs below bench level in the lab area. And then I'm going to use a bunch of these and attach them under the desks or under the benches. So what I will have is controllable and monitorable power outlets all the way around under the benches that I can plug in test gear and soldering irons and, you know, all the normal sort of stuff, because you can't ever have too many power sockets in a lab. And so for my own purposes, this is fantastic. I'm going to use heaps of these and use those as my, the thing is that the good thing is that I can do this without requiring an electrician, because they just plug in. It's just like a power board. So what I can do is just 3D print some brackets or something and attach these up under the desks, plug them into the GPOs, and have lots of power sockets, which is great. Allsop says it's an industrial area bound to hear a burnout soon. Yeah. There's a fair bit of rubber left on the road out there. Yeah. So I might as well pack that back up while I'm here. Yeah. So what I'm planning to do is use whatever I need for my own purposes here, and then there are going to be extras, because as you can see, there are boxes and boxes of these things. Z-Wave is not something that I have ever really looked at much before, not until I got hold of all of these anyway. But it seems kind of decent. I don't like the totally closed ecosystem aspect of it. The fact that you have to, in order to make a Z-Wave device, you have to buy the chip from Silicon Labs. There's just no other way to do it. But that has some advantages as well. It means that everything is compatible. It works. So, I don't know, there are upsides and downsides. Given the fact that Nigel managed to get me all of these boxes of them for nothing, I'm going to take advantage of that. Oh yes, Dodgy says, John is on a wide section of the road, bound to be popular. Oh yeah, Austin says, should be able to set up Z-Wave to MQTT. Yes, you can. And in fact, Ben has done that. He's got a thing running in a Docker container. I'm just walking through the lab here because I thought I would change the scene a little bit after standing around in the factory for so long. I'm walking through the garden. And this is prompted by the comment that I'm on a wide section of the road, so it's bound to be popular. If I turn around here, There, yeah, you see that section just there where it sort of insets in? So that's the normal width of the road, and the bit where I am, there is like this alcove. And look what's on the road behind me. There is a bit of evidence there. Yeah, that's just what happens in industrial areas like this. It's pretty constant. But yeah, you get a better idea. If I come back out on the road again, you can see the regular road there, and then I'm on this little section right here, which is like I don't even know why they did this, but basically they cut the road back in and made a little square. Like a square section where it's all inset. Quite odd. I don't think anywhere else on the road is like that, but just this section here in front of this specific factory has that extra width to it with parallel parking just along the side of the road. Right. Scott says, how much of that rubber came from my car? None. I don't like that's not me. I like fast cars, but I do not like the idea of simply shredding the tyres just for the sake of shredding the tyres. That is a total waste of traction that could be used for other things. I want tyres that stick. I don't want tyres that spin. Yeah, so usually I want more traction, not less. Need coffee. Yes. Oh, Michael says it's usually maneuvering space for trucks. Yeah, probably. Yeah, as Dodgy says, no, I'm not into wasting tyres either. Too dear to waste. They are. They are. Oh, I have a sad story about expensive tyres. When I ended up replacing the tyres on my M5, maybe 2 weeks, 3 weeks before it ended up being taken and as one of the assets of the company when all of the assets of IVT were liquidated. And I'm trying to think of how much I spent on it. It was something in the region of $2,000, I think, on the tyres. Yeah, it was somewhere in that like ballpark, about $2,000, around $500 a corner for the tyres. And then I had them on the car for about 3 weeks, and then the car was taken away. Oh well. Mr. Fix-It. First thing I installed in my shop was a coffee maker. Yeah, I intend to do that, definitely. Even though there is this place next door, I can't be buying coffee all the time. I need to have a place to make stuff. All right, so actually that is that I can talk a little bit about that. Not about coffee so much. Oh, Doshi says, thought you were going to say before an accident, nothing worse than taking a car to the wreckers with fresh tyres. Oh, outside the box says, and they probably valued the entire car at 4K. Yeah, they definitely did not value it at what it was worth then, and since then the price on M5s has just kept going up. So now it's probably worth 20,000 more now than it was a couple of years ago. Yeah, those V10 M5s, the price on those now secondhand, like a 2006 model, they're typically into the $70,000 range, like 70,000 plus and going up from there. Whereas a few years ago, you could get one for like 50,000 if you just looked around a little bit. So, all right, we're talking about coffee. Coffee's going to go there, right there, right there. And you see that power board right there? That's the coffee heating power board. So there is a bit of an odd angle here. And maybe now you can hear the echo because I'm in this front room again. It might be sounding a bit more echoey. So we've got this pillar. This is a big cement block or concrete pillar or something. There's plasterboard wrapped around it, so I'm not quite sure what it is. The rest of the construction here is cement block, but these pillars may be just concrete pillars. So there is that pillar where the end of the sliding door ends. So this is my general plan. It's going to be a little bit hard to see on camera and trying to get the right perspective. Okay, now if I get that angle, you can see that it comes to here and then it steps in, and then that is the edge of the pillar. What I'm going to do is frame this out so that the line continues straight along. So this frame here is going to continue in and it won't have that little notch out of it. So it's going to be a deeper box section coming out here. So that will be all walled up. And then this power board will be mounted, it was mounted on this face where it's going to be rotated 90 degrees and mounted on that face there. So that's going to be all boxed in, which means that this is going to be a little alcove. Now if I back up a bit to give more perspective on it. So that area there is going to be like a little alcove. And so what I can do is put in maybe a little credenza or something and a shelf up above it. And that's where things like the coffee machine, like a kettle or whatever, can go in there and plug into that. So the general idea here, in fact, I'll see if I can get more of a view. Oh, maybe the ladder will do. Let's see if the ladder works as a, not so well. You got part of the ladder visible right there. Maybe I can fix that. I think I can fix that. I can fix that with a paint tin. Look, instant tripod. All right, paint tin sits on ladder, laptop sits on paint tin. And there we go. And that is not at all precarious or unsafe. All right, so hopefully you can still hear me from back here. Little stub wall coming out to about here somewhere. So that'll be blocking off. And then the area in front of me is the sort of office work area. The area behind me, back here, is going to be like an entry area. So the door coming in here with the stub wall enclosing it slightly. And this is the plan. I want to put a table, a reasonably wide table, right here, coming out from the wall 1.5 meters. So it will end right about here. And then one chair on this side, one chair on this side, facing each other across the table. And that can be like a place to eat lunch or whatever. And it can also be like an interview studio. Because what I could do is have me on one side, have a guest on the other side, and have 3 cameras. So have one camera here, looking this way, at the face of the person sitting on this side of the table. Have one camera there looking this way, looking at the face of the person on this side of the table. And one camera up there somewhere for an overall perspective looking down on it. So hopefully that space there will do multiple duty as both a place to, Odoji says, I thought the lounge was going there. Yeah, I need somewhere to be able to sit, but I also need somewhere to meet clients, and ideally somewhere that I can do live streams from with guests and actually have people in person here with me. That's what I really want to do. So Celtic Beast says bathroom, shower, e-bike rack. I'm going to leave the laptop up there because it's kind of amusing. I'm looking up at the top of the ladder. there is a toilet down the back of the factory. So the way this is set up, it's a standard sort of factory arrangement where it's got the office area at the front where I'm currently standing, then a big open factory area, and then like the toilet block in the back corner of the factory. You know, every factory is like that. And so, because this is now divided in the middle, with the front part of this being my area and the back part being Lachlan's area, it means that I do not have a bathroom or even any running water or anything like that in my area of the factory. So the arrangement is that I walk through through his part of the factory to use the toilet area down the back. So yeah, that's it. There's no shower or anything like that. It's just a toilet, but that'll be okay for now. Alrighty. What could go wrong? Okay. E-bike rack. When I get an e-bike, then I will need an e-bike rack. Eye wash station. Yeah, there should be one of those. Okay, one of those weird association things. I saw the two people at emergency eye wash station. Yes. At the moment, that would have to be down the back because that's where the water is. But what I have talked to Lachlan about is maybe running some plumbing down here as well. And the thing is that I'm going to need water for a few purposes. I am going to need it for PCB washing, and yeah, it's just a useful thing to have. So what I really would like is to have a sink in the clean room where I can do, yeah, you need to be able to do cleanup of stuff. But the big problem is the drain. We can get water into it, but then how do we get the water back out? Where does the drain go? And there is no easy answer to that because there are walls in the way and you need fall on the pipe to get the drain to work properly. So where does it go? There's an external wall there that we can't do anything with. There's a dividing wall there we can't do anything with. There are doors in the way. So for example, if there was a drain, you can just, from where the camera is right now, you can just sort of see it. If there was something in the clean room through this area here, like a board washing system that needed a drain, the drain would have to come out and then it would have to cross this door, which would not really work. And then it could go out through the front wall there and be plumbed out into the drain or something. But yeah, sump pump, that's right. That would be pretty much the only way to do it, Austin. But this is where I need to get a plumber in and talk to them about it. Yeah, Tradie Trev says, let the plumber sort it. That's their expertise. That's what we pay them for. So yes, at some point, not yet. It's a bit, I don't actually need that really right now, but at some point I will get a plumber to come in and have a look at this whole arrangement and give some advice, and we'll figure out what we can use. Right, I've got to get this down off the ladder. It is kind of freaking me out just a little bit. The fact that it was sitting way up. It was sitting up on top of that paint can, and the paint can itself is precarious. I do not want to kill my new laptop. This laptop is so good. Yeah, pump drainage up and over. Yep. Alrighty. Now, Dodgy says needs water for the nuclear reactor. Yes. And Aaron says fire hose for eye wash station only in emergencies. Warning: solution may make things worse. I think it would make it way, way, way worse. Now, I am thinking maybe of bailing on this live stream a few minutes early because this morning has been a morning. and I need to get something to eat. I need to get something to drink. And how much battery do I have left? 17%. So enough, but it's getting down. So I think I'm going to bail early and go and do some stuff. First, a drink. Second, eating. And then third, doing stuff. Stephen says, Peter would be proud that you're getting lunch on time. Yeah, where's Peter? Has Peter been giving countdowns on the time? I don't think he has. I'm not sure if Peter is even here. Oh well. So, everybody, thank you for coming. And hopefully this shows you a little bit more of the context of the SuperLab and the things I've been talking about with the renders that I've been showing on the live stream. And maybe we'll get back to renders, and now you will know how it all fits together. No Pete, yeah. Not sure what Pete's doing today. I actually met up with Pete in person recently, which is cool. Cable Tie says, hold on 2 shakes, drink 1 coming up. What does that mean? What? Quick, end the live stream before he has a chance. Right. Before he has a chance to tell me to get off. Right. I don't know. I feel like I shouldn't end this early. Oh, hang on. Cable Tie says I'm 1 minute away. There is going to be we are going to have a, this is definitely worth waiting for. We are going to have another walk-in. I'm going to go out the front. Cable Tie says he's 1 minute away. So I am going to head out here just to make sure, because I'm sure that he'll have been paying attention when I was showing the live streams and I doxed myself and gave the address. So I'm going to go and hang out the front. Do I still have Wi-Fi? Yes, I've still got coverage. And, in fact, where can I sit the laptop? Sit the laptop here. Does that work? It kind of works. I don't know how well the microphone works, but this might be Cable Tie. It could be Cable Tie. I think it is Cable Tie. Okay. This looks like... G'day.
I'm bearing drinks.
It's an emergency drink delivery.
Emergency drink.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Sugar or no sugar?
Okay, so this is a question. You covered both options.
I did, because I didn't know
didn't
what
know.
your preference was.
So cool. So for those of you who have seen Cable Tie on in the chat all this time, this is the real Cable Tie.
Scary, huh?
Yes.
There you go. I thought I wasn't going to make it. Got every traffic light coming down Dorset Road.
Everything was slowing you down.
Everything was slowing me down. I actually tried to get you a sausage at Bunnings.
Yep.
I had no cash on me and they were only taking cash. And then I tried to get cash out. I didn't have my card with me. I've only got my electronic watch.
Yep.
Such is life.
But this is fantastic.
Go
Thank
for
you.
it.
I will go for the no sugar one.
Here, let me hold the camera so you can crack it.
All right.
And get it. And I had to quite illegally send you the message while I was at the traffic light.
So
don't end the stream, don't end the stream.
That's good.
Better. Oh, good. Well,
that's really cool.
And I actually managed to get right here.
You can get a tour in person now.
That would be fantastic.
Yeah.
Because I've missed some of it. I heard you talking about your unboxing the controllers and the power board switches and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So
Dodgy says,
good to see that.
is he new? Never seen him before in the chat. Never seen cable tie in the chat. A bit hard to miss.
I'm usually around. Don't always make the Sunday ones because I'm usually out on my push bike.
Yeah.
Riding about
the
100
hills?
kilometres, in the hills. Yeah.
Yes.
So when I heard you complaining about what did you say, 6 kilometres from your place to here?
I know.
That's a bit wimpy.
I'm lazy. So
doing that on a bit of a regular basis, you'd find it a breeze.
Yeah. It'd only take a little while, and I'd get back into the get conditioned again.
Although
So,
I'm not sure that I'd like to go.
Let's go for a slow walk in.
I'd like to go cycling with you if you just hammer it the whole way.
Oh no, but my hammering it kills me, but it's still slow.
I think somebody made the comment, it's just your lack of fitness, which is probably what it is.
Yes,
but I won't
is
be too rude about the host.
You can be as rude as you like. So we'll go for a... Oh, that's all right. I'm just going to put this back down where I had it sitting on the pile of tiles.
And John probably doesn't notice it, but it smells like new. There's fresh paint.
Yeah, the paint smell.
There's nothing quite like a bit of freshness to some building works, because it makes it smell new as well as look new.
Yes.
So. Oh wow!
Yeah.
And so I can actually tell you, it's not just a backdrop that he's got set up here.
This entire live stream has been on a green screen. Somehow synced to the position of the camera so I could move it around.
What do we got? Get him on a Mad Techie. It was you, wasn't it? Talking about the fitness. Yes.
Yeah.
Get him on a bike. Have to get him on a bike.
Yeah.
I think I dropped that bottle of wine around to your place for your 50th birthday. So I rode down on my bike when I did that.
Yep.
That was fun. Who else is there? Frank. G'day, Frank.
Yeah, all these names in the chat.
Mr. Fix-It. Have a face with the name. That's it.
Yes, cable tie is real. Cabletti.
Cabletti. That was originally C on. It was just one of those funny things, but that's why I started capitalising the C and the T. Makes it a little bit clearer.
Yeah. So Aaron says, "Come on, cable tie. First impressions, bigger or smaller than you
John's
thought?"
much bigger than in real life. You mean the building?
Well, he hasn't had a chance to look around yet.
Really? Been staring at the camera, but I do notice that when you face away, you can't. Your audio drops down.
Okay, yeah.
That's really good. I'll have a bit more of an in-depth look.
I'm just going to put this down.
I'm going to have a bit more of an in-depth look probably after the stream finishes. But with no Peter here, this stream could just keep going on.
Yeah, I know. There's no reason to stop.
There's no reason to stop.
Yeah, no one to call us on our on our crap.
No, it's big. There's certainly a lot of stuff in the back end.
Yep. Now I can actually turn this around. I never even really thought about this during the live stream, but if I turn this right around, it will show Lachlan's back part of it. And I did talk to Lachlan about this because we were talking about cameras and not showing things that he doesn't want shown. So he's deliberately covered up anything that is like sensitive, like client equipment and things. But yeah, there's a lot of gear back there, and that is largely because where we are standing right now, this had his equipment in it full all the way to the front, and he has taken it and compressed it towards the back.
Sort of like he's got a dozer and just pushed it back.
Yeah, so a whole lot of these benches that are across here and dividing off the space, these were actually running the other way and coming into this space. There was right about there where on the floor in front of those doors, there was a lathe and there was a mill, I think, sitting over there, like not CNC, it was a manual mill. There was a big CNC machine. In fact, John Spencer, so John, who we see here sometimes in the live stream, he, a few years ago, built a CNC machine, a really big one. It's like the size of a car. And that was sitting right here as well. It's like, the size of bigger than a table tennis table, that sort of thing. Yes.
So is that all those power board things?
Yeah, and those
my
boxes
goodness.
and yeah,
It's
they're
not just
a
a
lot.
couple of boxes. It's like
No, it's pallets. It's pallets worth of them.
unbelievable.
Like, yeah, and under there, and behind there, yeah, yeah. I think there are a total of 218 of the kits in those boxes,
All right.
and then each kit contains 2 power boards and 3 of the little things. So, in round numbers, 400 power boards and 600 power sockets.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
So I had to go to Bunnings, the local hardware, as I'm sure all listeners near and
All the
far
locals know.
I'm doing some modification wiring on my new camper trailer. Having just had it away for Easter,
Yeah.
you sort of realise what some of the shortcomings are, and I think, oh, I'll modify that, I'll change that, add in.
Yeah.
So I'm adding a couple of USB outlets. The thing's fairly well kitted out with just the cigarette lighter 12 volt ones, and they come from a couple of AGM batteries
Yeah.
inside.
But you've got more things that need USB
There's
power.
always more things, and you always have to put USB adapters in to get it to work. So I thought, I might as well put some in. Does anybody know? Here's a test. Does anybody know? The standard round 12 volt cigarette lighter inserts that just go into a panel in a car or whatever. Anybody know what the hole size is for that?
Oh, no. And I don't actually have tools here with calipers to measure one either.
Well, I actually had to borrow that. I thought, it'll be a standard size, or I'll be able to pick one of like a hole saw off the shelf at Bunnings and just test it.
Yeah.
But they're all in blister packs, so you can't
yeah,
pull them
you
out.
can't. Yeah.
But I did learn something, that they have a set of calipers behind the desk at Bunnings. So
Okay.
I used that.
So if you ask them for the size or something, they can help you.
And it's an imperial based measurement. It's 1
course it
1/8 inch, which comes out to 29 and something millimeters. So,
Yeah.
but hopefully, because I'm cutting through a bit of just lightweight, it's probably 0.9 millimeter sheet metal. Hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully it won't
But
tear
it's
or
tungsten
anything.
carbide. It should be able to cut through that all right, I think.
Yeah.
The hole saw that I got. So I've got that.
Yeah. Yeah, the
That's
issue usually
why I was
with
at Bunnings.
thin metal like that is just tearing around the edge as
Yeah.
you're cutting through it.
I'll almost certainly have to clean it up a little
Yeah.
bit, but at least the USB panel mount thing has a bit of covering.
Yeah, it's got a bezel around it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it'll cover up some. Those lights do keep going on.
I
don't
know.
we?
Yeah, we've got to change the timing on them because the timer is way too short.
Right.
It need.
Yeah, for a work area. Yeah.
Yeah, they were only put in about 2 weeks ago, so it did have just regular old fluoro tubes in here.
Oh, okay.
And they were all swapped out for these.
Are they LEDs?
They're all at LEDs. Yeah.
Oh, right. I shouldn't have stared at them. I've got circles in
Yeah.
my eyes now.
Blinking it away.
What do we got? You can get semi-infinite adjustable hole saws. Ah, yes. 1 1/8 of 29 millimeters, according to Google. There you go. Of course, I didn't think of looking it up on Google before I left Aaron, so I did grab I had a little sort of a surface mount one with 2 sample holes in it, so I brought that along as well to compare against.
Yeah. Oh, Dodgy is saying bad things about step drill, so Dodgy, you're going to get yourself banned.
Yeah, I've got a step drill, but it wasn't big enough. It only goes to 25 mils.
I like step drills.
I love them.
They leave a really nice clean edge as well because of the angle of the chamfer. It's like it pre-chamfers the hole for
That's
you.
right, yeah.
Yeah, they're fantastic.
Yeah. I've actually only relatively recently got one and started experiencing the wonders of having a step drill, but before then I hadn't. I thought, where have you been all my life?
I know. There are so many tools like that. Like there are things that you do without for years and years. You know they exist, but then it's until you actually get one and use it, you realise what a revolutionary thing it is.
In my case, I sort of saw people using them and I thought, that looks a bit lazy, a little bit incorrect. It's not a proper tool or something like that.
Yeah.
But now I finally got one and no, I'm converted.
Yeah. Yeah, there are a couple of things like that. Like this is going to be a really bad admission given the audience on this channel.
Uh-oh.
I took so long to realise the miracle of flux.
Ah.
And, yeah.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where you use solder, and when you're trying to clean up a joint, I'll feed fresh solder in and get a better result. And of course, the reason that happens is that you're also introducing new flux.
You got the flux.
But for so many years, I just never took that leap of, okay, I'm just going to stick flux on there, like deliberately do it. And it's a few years now. I've been using flux for a long time now, but I remember that moment of getting the first time I got like proper tack flux and squeezed it onto the board and soldered a joint and was like, wow, that worked really well.
Difference it made.
Yeah.
I haven't got any liquid paste flux. I've only got one of those pens, which I use occasionally.
Yeah.
We're going to have to end the live stream. The battery's looking...
Yeah, we're down to 9% battery now.
Well.
We'll have a few more minutes.
Okay.
Another one is the PCB preheater.
Oh, yeah.
And I got one of those a few years ago.
Right.
And the difference, particularly trying to take off parts that have large thermal mass, it's incredible. It's like having, I don't know, it's like a superpower. So with the normal hot air, you sit there waving the hot air over it, and you kind of end up blowing light parts off the board as you're trying to heat up a large part.
Yeah.
But with the preheater, you put it on there, let it sit there for a couple of minutes. You grab the hot air, wave it at it, and go, ooh, it just came straight off.
So what sort of temperature do you have the preheater at?
Usually a bit over 100.
Okay.
It's got a dial on the front so I can adjust it, but I normally run it
But that makes
probably
enough
like
difference.
120 degrees, something like that. What it means is that you're not trying to bring everything up from room temperature.
Yeah.
You're only trying to spike it that last little bit.
Yeah.
So you just warm up the whole board. You got all of the thermal mass is brought up to the same temperature. Yeah. It basically turns the hot air gun from being a useful tool into being like a magic wand. It's just like, that one off, that one off. Yeah.
I wonder, with all those changes that Xeon was making to fix his boards, were you using a preheater, Xeon? I wonder. Because you got through hundreds and hundreds of those things all pretty quickly, as I recall.
Yeah. Aaron says, new stream, tool time with John and Cable Tie. Yeah. Yes.
What was that show? Tim.
Yeah.
Tim the Toolman.
Yes. No, this sort of thing is exactly why I want in there to have a table with a couple of chairs.
Right.
So that, I can get people like you in and we can just talk about things. I think it's so much better than me standing here just trying to talk to the camera.
I just don't know how you do it. I just don't know how you manage to find stuff and just talk through
I don't know
a
either.
2-hour session every week. It's just
it's a mystery.
It's unbelievable. That's why I'd never. What are we doing? Home improvements, Dodgy Brothers.
Yeah. And a coffee machine. That's right. Yeah, we need the coffee machine right near the bench out there. Yeah, with a couple of comfy chairs. Gerald said he may be at the PNP, so yeah. Sion is always working like a madman.
He is. He always is. Absolutely.
Yeah. He's often when he's participating in a live stream, he'll be working at the same time. So.
What's this? Groovejet says, I never realised the miracle of lighter fuel. Electronic repair on YouTube uses it to clean PCB solder connections and uses it to test and diagnose faults.
Yeah, I don't know about the testing and diagnosing faults, but as a solvent, you can clean boards off it with it really quickly.
Oh, right.
So, yeah, it's like flux remover.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
So what do you use it just straight out of the refiller can or something?
I think so.
Yeah. Okay.
It's one of those, I know that it can be done, but it's one of those things that I don't like doing because you just get lots of solvents evaporating really quickly.
Yeah.
It's the sort of thing that would be done in a dodgy back alley, but not in a proper...
You're just going to be careful about the way you use dodgy here, I think, don't you?
Yes. True.
Home Improvements, cool. That was the name of the show. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Scott says, how have I got this far in the renovations without a coffee machine? The answer is two answers. One is by not being here for entire days at a time. I'm usually only here for a few hours at a time in between other things. And the other is I'm trying to reduce my coffee consumption.
Ah, good boy.
Yeah. I found that that's one of the factors that influences Crohn's disease. So ideally, I shouldn't be drinking coffee at all, but I kind of like it.
My cardiologist tells me to stop drinking coffee, but I politely ignore it
Yeah.
or to reduce it.
So my
Not happening.
but my goal is to go for one a day. So I have a coffee in the morning with breakfast, and then I sometimes have another one during the day, but usually, I try not to.
Yeah. I don't usually get past more than about 2 coffees a day, sometimes 3, but it's really that. So I don't think I'm that addicted, not compared to some people.
Yeah.
Red wine, on the other hand, that's a different story.
Yeah. Yes. Gerald42 said it is a good alternative solvent, but use it in a well-ventilated area. Yeah, I remember...
With no naked flames.
No naked flames. The other one that I've heard, I really want to try this, is brake fluid. I think, is it brake fluid?
To drink or to use as a tool? Oh.
No, for cleaning PCBs.
Oh.
There's, or is it, there's some kind of automotive fluid. I can't remember what it was. Brake fluid, I think, is quite nasty stuff. And so brake fluid is just like a hydraulic fluid. And from what I've heard, you can use it for cleaning PCBs. And it takes the flux off really quickly.
Right.
But I just don't like the idea of having a tub of brake fluid and like dipping stuff in it.
No, that feels weird.
Yeah.
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 Because, I mean, it must be inert to metals and aluminium and stuff like that, I guess, because it sits in your...
Yeah, it's got to sit inside the cylinder in the hydraulic system.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that'd be an interesting one. Not sure that I'll try that.
No.
I think I'll probably get some real flux as a first thing, and then secondarily maybe the board heater. I just don't do enough volume really to warrant something like that, though.
Yeah. Yeah, and board heaters are really useful if you're doing rework, but not so useful if you're doing assembly. It's
Yeah.
Yes.
What about tea, decaf? Techie, there is always decaf. Decaf never quite tastes the same though. Sorry, I live in Melbourne. I'm a coffee snob.
We have to be
It's
coffee
bred
snob.
into us.
Allsop69 said it's called brake clean. Yeah, brake cleaner. That, yes, not brake fluid.
Cleaner.
Brake cleaner. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That would make more sense.
Yeah, which is a kind of solvent. So I remember seeing that on, I think it might have been on EV Blog Forum or somewhere. Brake cleaning fluid, not the brake fluid. The brake fluid is the hydraulic fluid, which is designed to be a non-compressible material.
High temperature.
And brake cleaning fluid is like a solvent. So,
Okay, that would make sense, but not a lubricant in any way. I imagine.
And Groovejet said, it's so good that I'd be scared it's too good. Yeah. You dip the board in by the corner and you pick it up and there's just the corner of the board left.
And just your bare bones on your fingers.
Yeah.
That'd be my worry. Scott Miller says he only has 1 or 2 pots of coffee a day. That's all right.
Yeah, it just depends on how big the mug is, isn't it? In the office at IVT, one of the staff had a cartoon they stuck on the wall, which was, I can't remember where it was from, but it was like a person saying, I've decided I'm only going to have 1 cup of coffee per day, and I found the perfect cup, and they were holding a thing. It was like a bucket with a handle on it.
There's always a way.
Yes. That many years ago, in fact, I think it was the first time I ever went to China. One of the factories that I went to was like a real back alley factory, and the circuit boards that came off the end of the line, there was a guy sitting there at a chair with gloves on and a big open container of cleaning fluid or some kind of fluid. I don't know what it was. And basically the boards would come off and he would pick it up and like put it into the canister and swish it around and pick it up and put it onto a tray to dry. And I saw that, I thought, it can't be good to be sitting there with this open canister in front of you. I don't know what the material was.
What was the stuff that we used to use before Enlightenment?
Fluorocarbons and
yeah,
things.
it was. Yeah. It was a fluorocarbon. There was some brand name for it that we used to, and I did my fair share of cleaning PCBs in that in my younger day. In my younger day, actually, while I was at university, I worked for a while for a guy who was just based up here in Croydon, just in downtown. And I used to do a bit of PCB layout, just loading PCBs and stuff like that for him. But that was in the days of 100% through hole. I'm dating myself a little bit here. But yeah, it was much like just business, much like you or Leon's. we didn't have the Mako concept back then, but he had and this is also dating it, he had a 300 baud modem that he built, branded with his brand on it, and you could buy it at some of the local electronics places like Rod Irving's and that sort of place. And I went in there as a student thinking, it'd be really nice to have one of those modems, because then I could dial into the university and get online and stuff like that. I thought, I wonder if I can get it cheaper if I buy it directly from him. So I got him on the phone, and he said, I'm just in Croydon, I'll sell you a kit if you want. Okay. So I went down there, picked up the kit for considerably less than the finished product through some other reseller. And we've been lifelong friends since that. So I worked for him for a while, and he's retired now, but actually he's retired. He writes articles for Silicon Chip, and so occasionally you'll see ones in there for RF generators, signal generators, and stuff like that. And that's his work. That's his work. Yeah, that's what he just still enjoys doing. But there you go. Cool. Another story. Yeah. From old days.
Mr. Fixit said a lot of the brake cleaner is chlorinated. Yeah. And Andrew Gordon said, wasn't one of the very first webcams to check if the coffee pot was empty or not? Yes, that's right. That was at a university in the US.
That's right.
Where was it? Was it Berkeley or somewhere? The Berkeley coffee pot? Or was it UCal? I can't remember. But yeah, there was a coffee pot with a camera on it, and I think from memory it would take snapshots and stick them on an FTP server. So you'd FTP down whatever the latest snapshot was.
That was the original the original webcam. Yeah, we're just done as snapshots and individual uploads,
Yes.
And I think it was around about that time, might have been around about that time, that there's an HTTP response error code.
Oh, the error code, yes.
The error code, I'm a teapot.
Yes.
I think it was around about that time that got built in.
Yes. Yeah, there are some funny response codes in the HTTP standards.
Well, you're more than welcome outside the box. It's been a bit of fun. I kind of thought, being so close, sometime I really need to gate crash. One of these. One of these streams, and given that John was sort of in his open area here, it was going to be easy just to walk in through the front door. It's a bit more difficult to do when
it's in the back of my garage.
From home. That's right. Anyway, no, it's been good.
Yeah. Well,
all right.
Instead of cutting it off early, I've now run overtime.
Crikey, it's quarter past.
So, I think we'll wrap it up, and we will do an in-person tour. You can have a look around.
That'll be good.
Okay, so thanks everybody for coming along, and I'm probably actually not going to be able to stream next Sunday because I'm going to be in the city. We're going in to see Hamilton, the musical, but I will probably stream at a different time. So I will provide some updates in Discord or something. All right. Thanks, everybody. And we'll see you all next time.
Bye.